If you're thinking about buying a house anytime soon and you're curious about how the process works, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Matt Pitts with Keller Williams, and I'm here to walk you through the steps of buying a house so you know what to expect as you get the process started. It's very important as a home buyer to know all the information up front that you can, because when a good deal comes up, you've got to be ready to jump on it. The very first thing that a buyer needs to do is to pick an agent that they're going to work with. 88% of buyers are represented by a real estate agent, and it's for a reason. First, the vast majority of time, there is no expense out of pocket for a buyer to work with an agent. And secondly, that agent, their job is to make sure that you don't make any mistakes. And here's a couple questions that you should be asking yourself as a buyer. Is right now the best time to be purchasing a property? How long do you plan on holding on to the property? Will you be doing any improvements to the property? What do you do after you go into contract on a property? And wait a second, how do you even get inside the property? And you see, the reason people hire an agent is to do all of that for you. Any agent can take you to homes that are for sale, but a good agent is going to interpret all of the information that you're sharing to help you make the best investment for you. So now that you've partnered with a great agent, next you want to focus on confirming your financing options and get partnered up with a good quality lender. Don't start looking at houses until you have your financing lined up. And based on your investment goals, you will have financing options available to you that will influence the properties and the decisions you're going to make. You're going to have a good idea of your down payment, how much that costs you on a monthly basis, which will include taxes, insurance, mortgage insurance, and potentially an HOA. And the reason we want to have all this information up front is so that you're informed to make an informed decision about your budget and spending that you're going to be comfortable with long term. And I always recommend to all my clients that we never want to get into a situation where we're house poor, where we're working hard to just pay the mortgage and we don't have any money left over to live life, to go on vacation, to fix cars or do other projects and things like that. So now that you have your financing lined up, now it's time to start looking for properties. You and your agent can come together, identify an area and a set of homes that match your criteria and your preferences, and your agent is going to be able to educate you on that area versus others. And if you're like most buyers, you're going to have questions about the schools, shopping, restaurants, and maybe even commute times to and from work. Your agent's going to be your resource for that. Because when you're buying a house, you're buying into a community, and it's important that that community works for you. And sometimes the home search process happens in one day, and for others it might take a year or longer. It just depends on what your needs are and what your priorities are. And eventually you're going to find the right property and you're going to want to submit an offer. It's your agent's job to help you draft that offer, and they will handle all the negotiations on your behalf. And if your agent gets your offer accepted, congratulations, you've got your foot in the door. But there's still a lot more steps ahead in the process to get the keys to that house. You probably didn't know this, but typically a buyer will spend fewer than 15 to 20 minutes in a house before they actually write a contract on the home and potentially get that contract accepted. Which means we didn't even have time to flush a toilet, check the electrical, look at the foundation, the plumbing system, or even got to see how old the roof is. So this next step for you is to perform your due diligence on the property, and it's your agent's job to help represent you through that and facilitate those inspections. And in addition to the inspections, unless you're paying all cash, you have to get your financing lined up for this transaction, and that is any applications, any documents to your lender, an appraisal, and other details that are going to be required. Again, your agent's there to help you through that. In a typical market, we'll see a transaction being an escrow from the date the contract's accepted to when we close and get the keys is about 30 days. However, in this accelerated market, we're seeing 15 to 20 days as being pretty common, which means we have to be organized and ready up front to move quickly. And of course, that's a lot of steps and details, but there's even more that wasn't covered in that. So let's make sure we block time to go through every line item of detail so that you're prepared when we get to this point. And if I can make a suggestion, Don't buy a house just to be buying a house. Make a smart investment. Have a plan, an investment that's going to help you build wealth for your future. And if you have any additional questions or want more information, feel free to call me or message me. I'm happy to help at any time and look forward to being your resource. And thanks for watching. I'm Matt Fitz with Keller Williams, and I appreciate your time.